Welcome to Ageless Fury. Randall Cox here. Hey, today we're going to talk about protein, all right, in terms of quality, quantity, and the effect that it has on our bodies. We're also going to take a look at some protein powders. Hey, if this is your first time here, start by subscribing now. Let's get those notifications turned on so that you don't miss anything. Now, protein, look, it's an essential nutrient for regulating our cell function, okay? It's going to build tissue and it's going to help our blood carry oxygen throughout the body. Now, if you're not getting enough protein, look, that can lead to fatigue. It could end up being maybe a slow recovery from an illness or an injury and loss of muscle mass. Now, in reality, there are, not really any bad protein sources out there, but with so many options to choose from, some are definitely better than others. And there are some sources out there that, look, they're very high in saturated fat and calories, and those are the ones that we want to avoid. Now, your protein sources that are highly processed, okay, now those are going to be associated with an increased risk for cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. Now, in addition, you need to be wary of some of these protein supplements, like some of these bars and shakes, as they contain a lot of additives that are very, those chemicals very harmful on the bodies. And some of those brands have 20 grams of sugar per serving. Now, as we look at animal-based sources versus a plant-based source, look, we start to see very different positives and negatives, okay? Animal products, okay, they provide the highest quality of protein sources. Now, on the flip side, right, there's several studies out there, they've linked animal-based consumption to an increased risk of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and artery issues. And there are even more studies out there, they've shown that eating more of, like those processed meats, okay, that's actually increasing our risk of dying early. Now, those processed meats, okay, that's going to be your smoked meat, sausage, hot dogs, cold cuts, and bacon. Okay, we need to stay clear of those. We need to get into a cleaner, lower saturated fat type of protein. Now, our body needs 20 different amino acids, okay, and our bodies can actually create 11 of those, and those are called our non-essential aminos, but we must get the other 9 from food sources, and these are our essential amino acids. Now, our animal proteins, such as like a meat, eggs, and milk. Look, these are complete proteins, meaning that they provide all those essential aminos that our bodies need. Now, look, if you're going to go this direction, that's perfectly fine. But look, try and stay with the grass-fed, pasture-raised, and those non-GMO type products. Now, if you go plant-based, look, these are excellent sources of protein. Okay, oftentimes they're going to have lower calories and fewer, harmful effects than a lot of those, animal proteins. Some plant-based proteins, you take like a quinoa, right? Now, this is a complete protein. So that's going to have all 9 of those 9 essential amino acids that we need. Now, some of the other plant-based sources, they are missing some of those, amino acids. So it's important that you eat a variety of foods to make sure that you're getting all 9 of those essential aminos. Now, studies have shown that people who consume higher amounts of a plant-based protein are at a lower risk of the diseases that are affecting the people who eat a higher amount of the animal-based proteins. Now, one question is, how much protein do I need? Well, research suggests that it's safe to consume as much as 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day. And there are certain people out there, they can safely consume up to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight per day. So that's going to equate to about 35% of your daily calories coming from protein, or as much as 220 grams on a 2,500 calorie per day eating plan for a 150-pound person. Now, for athletes and people into, heavy weight training, look, they can safely consume, that higher amount of protein. Now, a pretty safe zone on your protein is going to be 0.7 to 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. Okay, so if you're at 150 pounds, you're going to be somewhere around 115 grams of protein per day. Okay, now 1 gram of protein is equal to 4 calories. So at 115 grams, you're going to consume 460 calories per day in your protein. Now, for years, the amount of protein needed has, look, it's been highly debated as there are some top bodybuilders and powerlifters out there. Look, they're consuming as much as 4 grams of protein per pound. Now, eating, too much protein, really isn't a problem for most people. But look, if you consistently overdo it for long periods of time, it can eventually overload your digestive system, your liver, and your kidneys. Now, all protein is broken down into those amino acids. So, look, if you eat more than you can use, your body can't store the extra. So it's going to process it, and then ultimately it is excreted from our bodies. Now, those extra calories from protein, though, now, if those aren't burned, look, those can be stored as fat. So we don't want that. Now, the amount of protein that you need may take some time to figure out. So personally, I would start on the lower end and go up from there. Look, I don't see any reason to take on extra calories if you don't need to. So like for me, I'm in that 0.7, 0.8 range. And I can tell you right now, I have gotten stronger and I've added muscle size. Now, in my younger years, I was closer to 2 grams per pound, and I would tend to carry a higher body fat percentage. Now, I've kept my fat and my carbohydrate consumption about the same, but I have lowered, my protein intake, and that adjustment has allowed me to get more lean and to have a better overall appearance. Now, protein powders, look, these can be an excellent source to hit your daily protein requirement, as they can be lower in calories, but you really have to pay attention to the labels here because, look, let me tell you, there are a lot more bad protein powder sources on the market than there are good. Now, producers of these protein powders, look, they want to try and achieve the best taste to sell more of their products. And hey, look, this makes perfect sense as people don't buy as much of those healthy powders that don't taste good. Now, we start talking about whey proteins, okay? Now, there are 2 main sources. You've got your isolate and your concentrate, and the difference is going to be in their processing. Now, once that whey liquid has, sufficient concentrate of 80%, okay, it's dried to make that whey protein concentrate. Now, carbohydrates and fat are going to make up the remaining 20% of that powder. Now, from there, different steps are taken, to produce that whey protein isolate, okay, which is going to remove more of those carbohydrates and fat. Okay, now that's going to result in a protein powder that's going to be, closer to 90% protein. Now, typically, your isolate, look, that's going to provide a higher protein content for roughly the same amount of calories. Now, that isolate means that the protein is coming from a whole food source, okay? It's filtered to remove, those trace contaminants or other components, giving you a very pure form of protein. Now, look, it's going to cost a little bit more because basically, look, you're paying for more protein and more processing time. Now, as we circle back to, those animal-based versus the plant-based, whey leads the way, okay, is the best type of protein powder. Okay, now this is a complete protein, okay, meaning it's going to contain all 9 of those essential amino acids. Okay, again, these are the ones that our bodies can't produce on their own. Now, whey enters our bloodstream faster than any other protein. Look, this boasts the highest level of amino acids, right, which provides our muscles with that necessary fuel that we need to power through those workouts and build our bodies. Now, in fact, whey is the most effective powder at building muscle. Now, we get into like a soy protein, okay, a plant-based, okay. Now, this is going to digest at a moderate rate, but it does contain the aminos that we need, which, now those are going to help support, that immune system, our digestive health and our brain function. Now, the soy, it is a complete protein, okay, and it is considered the most effective, plant-based source for building and maintaining muscle. Now we get into like a pea protein, okay, now that's not a complete protein. Okay, so it's going to be low in some of those essential aminos that we need. So there you're going to have to, pair that with another, protein powder source to, so that you can round out that amino acid profile to make it a complete protein. Now, for me personally, I do use a whey protein isolate. Okay, now I'm going to blend that with either a pea protein or a soy protein, okay? And this ensures that I'm getting a complete protein with all those essential amino acids. Now for me, my whey protein, right? It has one ingredient, whey protein isolate. My pea protein, one ingredient, pea protein. My soy protein, one ingredient, soy protein. So these are a very, very clean protein powder. Now look, I'm gonna be honest here. It tastes awful. I mean, it's really bad, but I know that I'm giving up flavor for what I feel is an extremely healthy protein and probably one of the best that I can buy. So yes, this is a taste that's going to take some getting used to. So, you need to blend this with a fruit or another additive because you do need to improve that taste. And for me, I'm blending that with some berries and it does, make it, easier to get down. Now, just make sure that whatever you use is healthy. Okay, you don't want to add something in there that's going to derail, the health benefit of that protein powder. Now, my protein shakes make up about, 35 to 40% of my daily protein. So 2 shakes. I've got one that I take about an hour before I train. And then my second shake I'm taking after the workout, which is going to be 30 minutes after I finish training. Now, this is another area, look, you have to figure out what's going to work best for you. There are a number of stores out there, they do sell those sample packets, right? So that way you're not buying some, huge container of something that you're not going to like. So, give it a try and see if you can find a flavor that's going to work for you. You try something until you find what's going to work. And then again, cost can come into this. So you want to try and look for, those healthy powders to be, under $1 an ounce. Okay, now there are some powders out there, look, they're over $2 an ounce and they come loaded with a bunch of additives and chemicals and all these things that you don't need. So, let's shop for that, clean protein powder to get us where we need to be. Hey, please leave your comments as I work with people on their quest for better health. And if you're looking for more programs that can help you have that weight loss, nutrition, or your exercise goals, please follow me on YouTube and Instagram. Thank you.